And hello, everyone. Welcome to this evening's PyLadies. Thanks for joining us, and thank you again to Mridu, who's going to be our speaker this evening, as well as my co-organizers, Lay and Michael. I'm going to go through some announcements first. First of all, I also like to thank Dublin Maker as a community partner. And because we're using Zoom for our talks. And so before we get to our talk, which will be on building conversational bot using Twilio and Python, just have a few announcements. So first of all, I want to remind people that PyLadies Global Elections, Council Elections, the candidates, it's going to be open till, you can vote, and it's going to be open till this Friday. You need to be a PyLadies member to vote. Head over, it's free to join. It's just head over to members.pyladies.com. You can see here, you can just go, there's a link there, you can just go to whichever language you want to click in and just register. And then to vote, you need to go to, you can see a list of candidates to know who you're voting for. So it's elections.pyladies.com, and you can find the list of candidates here. So if you are, you want to get more involved, join PyLadies Global and vote for the very first PyLadies Global Council. The next announcement is EuroPython 2020 just announced their first batch of edited videos today. Go head over to europython.tv to check it out. They're on YouTube as well. They have a playlist there. The next one is deploying Python app in Red Hat OpenShift. I left it there. I'm not quite sure if people still want to have this workshop or not. I might put it as a poll. If it's easier for people just to click yes or no. Just maybe a Twitter poll or something. And I also want to highlight again, for those who are on dev.to or those who are curious about it, I created an organization for PyLadies Dublin on it, and it's a kind of a blogging platform for developers. And I'm on it, Chuck is on it, as well as Lice from Python Ireland. And as always, we are looking for speakers for PyLadies. So we have a speaker confirmed for next month, but we need lightning talks for November, and we won't be having any December meetups. So if you are interested in speaking in November, fill out that form. You can find this page, this cryptpad.fr pad on the Meetup events page if you're curious on how to get to it. So our next meetup, PyLadies meetup, is on Tuesday, October 20th. It's going to be another virtual event. The meetup page will go up very soon, as soon as we confirm details from our speaker. And then some Python related events. Aforementioned Chuck and Lace convinced me to join them at their midweek Py podcast, and it's going to be live streamed to Twitch and I think YouTube as well, but mainly they're using Twitch. And so check it out. Just head over to that Twitter profile, mid-meet Py, to find more information. And Chuck has done, this is like a weekly podcast, so you can actually check all the previous podcasts as well. And they talk about current updates in Python, the community, conferences, and also their favorite PyPy libraries and things like that. So the next Python Ireland meetup is on Wednesday, October 14th. And I haven't listed out any other events, upcoming events, in this section, but if you want to share an event, do come onto the script pad and add it, and so people can see it. I do keep a live blog on here as well on Coding Grace of all the virtual events that are happening in and around Ireland this month onwards. So that's it for the announcements. I will hand you over to Mridu for her talk on building conversational bot using Twilio and Python. So I just want to say hello, Mridu, and thank you for joining us all the way from India. I know it's quite late. And
Thank you.
and there you have Lay out there as well. We will be keeping an eye on the live stream chat on live chat. So if you have any questions, do put on live chat. We may not have time to answer it, but we will. If you have any questions, and we will post the answers from Udo on CryptPad, and I will follow up with the post event kind of message if you've RSVP'd on Meetup. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Mridu and to start her talk. And yeah, thank you.
I'll just share my screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Cool. Hello everyone. I am Mridu Bhatnagar. I am based out of India. And the topic for today, the topic for the session is building a conversational bot for WhatsApp. And for the same, we'll be using Python and Twilio. So recently, this was one of the weekend projects that I built. And as you can see on the screen, left-hand side, there is a small WhatsApp screen that you see. And this is basically a WhatsApp bot. Here, what is happening is if the user queries the bot that tell the word definition, so it would return you the word definition. If you ask the bot to return synonyms, it would return synonyms, and likewise it returns antonyms and examples. So these were the features of the bot, and for building the bot, I am using the Twilio API. So Twilio is a US based company and it has various communication APIs. So it has an API for SMS, it has an API for connecting with email, it has an API for connecting with WhatsApp, and likewise it has multiple other APIs for different channels. So this API that I'm using here is the API of Twilio that is helping me in connecting my code with WhatsApp. So now in today's discussion, I'll be explaining you the process that how you too can build a bot for WhatsApp. And this is just one of the use case that I had built. And throughout the process, you'll learn how to build a simple Hello World bot. And later you can modify the bot based on your own use case and requirement and your own ideas. So requirements for understanding this example are that you need to have a Python version greater than 3.6. This is 3.6 is not really a mandatory requirement, but Python 3 is a mandatory requirement. And then we'll be using Flask for creating a endpoint so that the message, the queries entered by the user on WhatsApp reaches to Twilio. So that is why you need Flask. Then there is a Python, then there is something known as nggrok. So ngrok is something that you have to download from the web. And when you search for ngrok on the internet, there is a official website of ngrok from where you can download it. And then next is you need a smartphone that has WhatsApp installed on it. So for the whole process to successfully run, this is the prerequisite that your phones should be having WhatsApp. Step one of the process is that you need to create a Twilio account. So I'll just show you that how you can create a Twilio account. So this is a URL. This is basically a referral code that is given here. But you can just go onto the website of Twilio and open it and create your own account. So this is how that is done. See, this page, as you can see, when you click on the link, I'll be sharing my presentation afterwards. So you can just click on the link enter the details and create a free trial account. So Twilio will help you in creating the free trial account, and it gives certain free credits. So there are some dollars that you get as free credits because all these APIs are paid APIs. So just for building up your side project, you get some free APIs. Another way, instead of the link, if you just directly go onto the Twilio's website, then also you can create your account. So if you just go on Twilio, okay, just a second, I'll tell you. Enter twilio.com, and when you go on to twilio.com, you can see here that just on the top right hand side corner, it asks you that do you want to sign up? Or here also on the main screen, you can see sign up and start building. So if you just click on this, it will open the same page and you can just sign up. So I'll not be signing up as I already have one account, and I won't be able to show you because there are some secret credentials that should not be visible to everyone. These are the personal credentials that Twilio gives you. So you need to take care of the security here. So these are all the requirements for the project. Next step is you need to configure Twilio WhatsApp sandbox. So this is another link that you need to open. Once you have already logged in on Twilio, you will be able to see a Twilio sandbox. So there is a small screenshot. This is how your screen should look like. So on the screen, you will see Twilio sandbox for WhatsApp, and then on the left hand side, it will show you one phone number. This phone number you will have to save on your mobile phones. So the active mobile connection that has an active WhatsApp installed on it, you need to save this phone number on that mobile phone, so that after saving, this contact appears on your WhatsApp. This contact should appear on your WhatsApp. And then once you have already saved the number, you should just click on this number and then send this joining code. So join, and then there is this hidden code. So every individual has a different hidden code, and you need to send this hidden code. So this is one of the approaches. And now this is the 0th step of whole building the bot process. If you have made this connection, this will help you in connecting WhatsApp with Twilio. So we'll discuss later how the communication is taking place. First, it is important to make the connection between multiple devices. So this will help you in connecting your WhatsApp with Twilio. Now, we have already saved the number. The number would be visible on your WhatsApp list, and then the initial connection has been set up. You have configured Twilio WhatsApp sandbox. Next step is to create a Python virtual environment. So if you are unaware about Python virtual environment, so Python virtual environment is something that is used to create an isolated environment. In Python, there are two ways of installing packages. So you install a package by using package manager, that is your pip. You do pip install and the module name. And you can either install all the packages globally, or you can create a virtual environment. Better practice is basically to create a virtual environment. And installation by creating virtual environment is important and a best practice, so that you are not so that your packages are not conflicting between each other. Otherwise, if you are installing something that has version 0.1 and you have another library, same library having version 0.2, then there are multiple projects on your system, so there can be version conflicts. The system does not know that what particular version needs to be picked up. So that is what virtual environment is needed for. So that like with respect to each and every project, you have a different isolated environment, and there are no package conflicts between each other. Now, once you have for creating the virtual environment, here are some steps. First, we'll create a separate directory. Inside this directory, we'll be having our project file. Next is, after creating the directory, so these steps are basically for Mac OS and Linux users. If you have, so for creating the directory, you will be doing mkdir WhatsApp bot. WhatsApp bot is the name of the directory. Then you will be going inside of this directory. So for changing the directory, we use cd. Then there is a command for creating the virtual environment. So you will have to do python -m venv WhatsApp bot. Venv is the package name, WhatsApp bot is the name of the virtual environment. So then you will have to do this step. Followed by this, you have to activate the created virtual environment. So step for activating the virtual environment is WhatsApp bot bin activate. And then how would you know that your virtual environment is created? So for knowing this, on the left hand side, you will see that a bracket followed by the virtual environment name has come. This is a signal that virtual environment has got activated. And now as the isolated environment has got activated, all you have to do is install all the packages that are required. So want the Twilio package library. Then want the request library, Python request. Then I want Flask, and then I want python.n. I'll tell you why do we need each of these libraries later. So first we need to install all of these. Likewise, if you are a Windows user, you will have to use the md command for creating the directory, cd command for changing the directory. Then you create your virtual environment. And once the virtual environment is created, for activating the virtual environment, you have to do WhatsApp bot scripts activate. And then you install everything, all the required packages. So the required packages, as I told, are Twilio, then Python request, then Python Flask, and then python.n. So we need Twilio for receiving and sending the response. For receiving the request from the user and sending the response back to the user, you need Twilio. Then request is a Python HTTP library. It helps you in connecting with different websites. And through this, you would be able to connect with the API. So API is our data source. It is sending us, it will be sending us all the data. And then you have Flask. Flask is a micro framework present in Python. It will be helping us in creating a endpoint. And this at this endpoint, the user request will come, and from here, Twilio will send the response back. And then you need python.n module for saving all your secret credentials. So these secret credentials should not be visible to anyone. So if you are pushing your project onto something like GitHub, so then you will have to preserve these, and these should not be publicly visible. That is why you need python.n. So before we move ahead, are there any questions up till now? Anything that is not clear, I should repeat, or any questions up till here?
No, there's none so far. I think people are, yeah, they're happy with the content so far. I suppose you can keep going.
I think your mic is muted, is it?
Yeah, sorry, my mic was muted. Yeah, the content seems to be good from comments, and yeah, I think you can continue going. No
questions.
No questions so far. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So next step is how you would be creating the Flask bot service. So either you can call it chat bot or bot, doesn't really matter. What matters is a functionality that we are ultimately building. So just for creating the, so in this, we won't be creating the demo of the vocabulary bot that I had initially shown you. This is just a small demo that is going to showcase you that how you can send a static response using and build the bot. Because sending a static response is the easiest process. For sending the dynamic response, there are some more things that need to be understood. So I'll just be giving an overview of that. But first we'll just be covering in this presentation is the hello world of creating the bot, you can say. So the next step is you import the Flask module. So we are doing from Flask import Flask. So this capital Flask is basically the Flask class. And then we are creating an instance of this class, that is app. And then this is a basic skeleton of Flask that we have. We are defining a function hello world, and then I have a particular endpoint named as hello world, and we are sending a post request call. Post request means we are trying to create something. Get is I am trying to get all the resources. Post means I am trying to create something. So then here is the post request. Then you write if name equal to main. Because I am using a different software for creating these code snippets, that is why this double equal to is showing like a single equal to. So this is a double equal to. This is not an assignment operator. This is comparison operator. So if double underscore name and these double underscores are also named as dunder. So double underscore name followed by again double underscore is equal to main. This gets checked, and then we are doing app.run. So app.run runs on localhost. At the moment, everything is local on your system. So this is the basic skeleton. And then in the following slides, we'll be writing this function so that we just send back some kind of a response. So this is the step. And now next going ahead, we'll just, so this function receives the message from the user. Whatever user is typing on WhatsApp will be received by this method here in your code. Receiving the incoming message from the user. For receiving the message, you have to do request.values.get body, and then if the body is not present, then it is empty message, and we are converting everything to a lowercase. This request that is here is a part of Flask standard Flask library. So here, along with Flask, you can do comma request that is not present here. So this request can be imported from Flask itself. And now whatever the user is typing on WhatsApp will be received in this incoming underscore message variable. So here it is just the assignment that we are doing. And this method will help get the data that the user is sending. So the next step now is how would Twilio send the response back? User request has come to Twilio. Now Twilio has to send back some response. So for sending that response back, you have to do from twilio.twilioml.message response import messaging response. So a very good documentation of this module is available on Twilio's website. I can just show you that. If you open Twilio website, you can check Twilio response API. So Twilio has a good API documentation for everything. So for seeing that what request you need to send, what would be the response that would be coming back to you, you can just have a view at the documentation. It will tell you each and every step. And this is also a good practice to go through the documentation whenever you are building any kind of project that deals with APIs. So this is a good way to just go through and get the snippets. I'm still not there on the correct page. Let me just open it. No, we are still not there. Just a second, I'll search for it. All the links are also present at the end of my slides in the resources section. So you can have a look from there as well. Yeah, so now we are here. but this one is for programmable SMS, and we don't want programmable SMS. We are doing WhatsApp. So just a second, give me a moment. Twilio API for WhatsApp. If I do, yeah. So you open the Twilio API for WhatsApp, and then you can just go on to the docs API reference, and here when you will see yeah. So give me a moment. If I don't find, then I'll get back to what I was talking about. Uh, yeah, I imported Twilio messaging. Yeah. I mean, you can just search the API. All the documentation is given on Twilio. So according to whatever you are building, you can just find the relevant documentation. At the moment, somehow we are on programmable SMS. I want it to be Twilio ML. Just a second. Okay, at the moment I am not able to find that where it has gone, but while building the project, I consulted the Twilio's documentation. So you can just go and have a look at the documentation. So this is basically the format. This messaging response is coming from the Twilio TweML API that is already that is a Twilio's API. And then I am instantiating this class, and I am also instantiating the message method. So all this we are doing so that Twilio sends some response back to the user. First, user sends a message to Twilio, and then Twilio is sending back the message to the user. So suppose the incoming message format is hi. Whenever you say hi, the output message we are sending a static message back, that is hello followed by a hi. The message is meaningless at the moment, but this is just for the demonstration purpose. And there are pretty interesting use cases that you can build once you have got a hang of how to build the bot. So now when we come inside of this function, all you have to do is you have to do message.body and then add your string message inside of this parenthesis. Message.body is a method already present in the Twilio library. So there is nothing special that I am doing. All I am doing is writing the message inside of this method. So the methods are built in by Twilio, and then you return a string response. So you have to do str of your response. And the message response that gets created here is basically in XML format. And inside of the XML, there are various strings present. And what finally the user reads on WhatsApp is also a human readable string. It is not something that developers read. It is not a XML that goes. So a sample of how the request is getting formed is you can see a key response. This is basically the XML format. Then you have message key, then you have body, and also you can send media messages on Twilio. So if you are interested in sending some images or cute cat and dog pictures and create a bot out of it, so all those things can also be done. And now finally the last step, that how will you run the application. So for running the application, all you have to do is run it just like a normal Python script. You can do Python followed by name of the file. So my name of the file is app.py, so I just run the application. Now next step is how will I test, how will the user send, and how will the response come back. So then initially we had installed nggrok on our mobiles, on our desktops. So wherever you have installed the nggrok, there you just open your terminal and run the following command. that is /nggrok http 5000. So 5000 is the port on which our Python script as well as nggrok is running. And then there would be two terminals that you have opened on your system. One would be the terminal where your Python application is running. Other would be the terminal where you have nggrok running. Are there any questions up till here? Am I too fast?
You might want to wait for a little bit of there's a bit of a lag before it gets out the stream. Haven't seen
Okay.
anything so far. But yeah, keep going. We'll let you know. Yeah, you're at a good pace right now.
All right.
I'll let you know if there's questions.
Okay. So now moving ahead, we are at the last step, that how we'll be testing our application, whether the requests and responses that are being sent back and forth are working or not. So for that purpose, we have nggrok with us. You can just run nggrok on one terminal, as I had shown in the previous step, and you can run your Python application on the other terminal. And now all that you have to do is again open your Twilio sandbox. So on the Twilio sandbox, you need to configure your sandbox now. Here you will be adding your nggrok URL. So on the previous screen, we saw that there is one nggrok URL. You need to copy this nggrok URL and put it inside this form. So on your Twilio account, you will be able to see the form. So this is the form that is present. You just enter the URL and then followed by it enter / for then your REST API endpoint. So in our case, it was hello world. We were using hello world. So nggrok URL followed by hello world. This is the complete URL that will be present in your Twilio sandbox for WhatsApp. Also, every time this nggrok has a limitation. After every 8 hours, this nggrok URL keeps on changing. So you need to be, for the bot to work, you need to update the URL. Or if you want to implement something without using nggrok, then you can host your complete setup on a platform like Heroku. So this was a complete process of how you can send the static responses. We just send a static string message from the bot. Now the question comes that how can we build an application that is like your vocab bot that you told us in the initial step?
Sorry, Mridu,
So for sending the
before you move on, there's a question saying, can you explain ngrok again? Can you explain ngrok again?
Right. So ngrok is a package that will help you in testing your application on mobile phone. So you need to remember that your code is present on your laptop and WhatsApp is present on your mobile phone. So we are trying to interconnect two devices. Communication is taking place between two devices. So what nggrok is trying to do is, nggrok is trying to connect your mobile phone with with your laptop. So I can just show you the nggrok site. Just a second. This is the nggrok. This is the ngrok site that you can see, and it tells you that how you can test your application, how you can download the things from here. Initial download is free. You can get started for free, and it is doing this so that you no more have to use localhost, because localhost is particular to your laptop, and your mobile device would not be able to connect to localhost. So there needs to be a URL that your mobile device is aware of. Localhost won't just work. So what ngrok is doing is, ngrok is providing this URL to your mobile phone, and in return we are configuring this dynamic URL on Twilio so that the connection is possible. I hope I have made it clear. Should I do I need to explain anything else? Any more questions?
Yeah, I think that should be okay for now. That's great. Thanks. Yeah.
All right. So now this is the last step, that how you can build interesting use cases and send dynamic responses. We had just sent, in our example, we just sent up a static response. So for dynamic, there are various free public APIs available. You can just make a connection with the public API and send the response. All you need to be aware of is that in Python, how do you integrate an API with your Python code? And some examples of the APIs available are, you have Google Maps API, you have Cat Pictures API, you have Twitter API, you have Google News API, you have GitHub API, and there are a lot many more APIs publicly available for you. And the next step is, if you are thinking that how do we integrate our API with the Python code. So here is an example. All you will have to do is create a method and then have a particular URL. And then all you need to do is import requests and import JSON. So JSON is a built-in Python module, while request is a third-party HTTP library that you will have to install. So now you can make just a get request call. Whether the request is get request call or a post request call, you will get to know this based on the API documentation. So whatever API you use, just have a look at the API documentation. Then you can just check what is the status code. So status code tells you a particular meaning corresponding to each code. If you get status code 200, that means the connection is perfectly successful and you are able to fetch the data from the API. And then your last step would be converting that string response into a dictionary, so that you can parse that response and you end up sending a string to the user. So that is why this loads method is used. So this is just the small part of the application. You will have to integrate these small parts into a complete application to build something like the vocab bot. And you can think of your own examples. And in my presentation, there are various links added. So if you are not aware of from where you can get to know about the public APIs, so for that there is a repository on GitHub that you can check out. Then if you are interested in learning about Flask, you can check out Flask documentation. Also, if you are keen on learning about how that vocab bot that I had shown initially is built, you can check out a tutorial on Twilio's website. So on Twilio's blog, I had written a tutorial step by step that will help you in creating that exact bot. So these were a couple of things that I had to explain. And for getting more ideas, you can check out the Twilio's blog. People have developed beautiful application, worked on various use cases. You can think of your ideas by learning about the APIs. And this is just a basic 101 of how the bots can be built for WhatsApp. So thank you so much. And if there are any questions, then I'll be glad to take them and I can answer them.
Well, thanks, Emil. That was really good. Wow, you finished like way ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
It's grand. It's grand. It's fine. Like I think we said enough time so people aren't rushed or anything. But yeah, I didn't even know about ngrok at all, so that's pretty handy. And thanks again for stopping and explaining what it is. But yeah, I'm just asking people if there's any questions, and I think they just came back and saying, "That's amazing. Thank you for explaining in such detail." So, yeah. So definitely we'll try. So you have all the links, so I'll go get the slides off you and share it with people.
In the chat, should I share the slides, or on email I can share?
Yeah, you can share it with me, and I'll post it. I'll update What I'll do to our listeners here, and people who come to YouTube, to view the video, I'll post the link to the slides, or I'll export it to PDF and upload it to Speaker Deck or something. I'll put it there so people can access your slides, and I'll also send a post-event message to folks, and I'll also include the link, and then EncryptPad as well, the one I did the announcements in. I'll also put that link there as well. And if there's anything kind of other useful stuff, but yeah, I think you covered a lot there in that short space of time, and it's quite interesting.
Thank
So
you.
it'll be interesting to see if people can. Oh, hang on, there's a few questions. There's a question. Can ML use case be integrated into this as well in this chatbot?
Uh, I haven't done anything related to ML, but as long as you are developing something that you can, put it something as an API where you can do integration, that use case can be definitely integrated. So here we were integrating all the external APIs in our bot. But instead of the external API, what you can do is you can maybe create your own API endpoint and then host your API somewhere, like you have hosted your API on Heroku, and then you can make a request to your own API instead of calling a Twitter API or calling some different API. You can just make a call to the API that you have created. So the API that you have created can have your ML algorithm that you are using, and then that can be integrated into the bot, and the result can be shown to the user. So all those things, modifications can be done. There can be interesting use cases that can be built. Also, while presenting, I think I have made a mistake. So I'll just try to correct that thing. While doing the installations, I told you to install two, three things. We installed Twilio, we installed Request, Flask,
Mm-hmm.
and Python.env.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't use anywhere the Python.env and the request module. Request we were using later just for seeing the example. So this was because I was explaining you how to send a static response. Whenever you have to do dynamic, that time you will be needing request module as well.
Okay.
So that I had shown you in later parts, that how you need to work with requests. Also, as far as Python.env is considered, so whenever you integrate an external API with your program, so you will have to authenticate that API. They will send you a API key. There would be your username. There would be some keys. So for all those purposes, we need this Python.env. Those API keys should not be visible anywhere. Those API keys should not be present on your GitHub if you by chance push your code. And this should not be there because all these APIs are paid APIs. So if you end up exposing these API keys, someone can misuse the API and all your free credits can also be gone.
Mm.
So just be a bit careful about hiding these things and keeping it onto your own system and using the utilities like python.in. And just for getting an example that how python.in looks like, I can also show it on the blog how it is there. Just a
Mm-hmm.
bit. Python.in, right?
Someone also mentioned they didn't know about TwyML, and thank you for that.
Welcome. Yeah, everything is available in
Yeah.
Twilio's documentation for further exploring. And in this is a step-by-step tutorial that I had written for Twilio for building the bot. So you can follow through this. And here somewhere I am using that python.env. So I wanted to just show you where I am using python.env. Get in. Yeah. So, is the screen visible?
Uh, yeah. Double checking on my other screens. Yeah. You can increase
Yeah.
the size if you think it's not so.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do that. Shift plus. Yeah. Now it is visible.
Should be okay.
Yeah. So here you can see there is a small step that I am doing. I have written API underscore key is equal to os dot getenv and then key thesaurus. So key thesaurus is the API key of the API that I am using in this example. So API key should not be publicly visible. That is why I have used this os.getenv package. So these are small things that you can use not only in this example, but probably while you are professionally developing your projects, doing side projects. These things can be, are like good practices while you are programming. So whenever you are, so for this purpose, we had basically installed that .n. Whenever you are just sending a random static response and there is no need of API keys, then there is no need to install that package as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that makes it clear.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's okay. There's no more questions that I can see on the live chat. But yeah, that's great. Thank you again. Yeah, I think there's a lot of happy campers there joining us live, and hopefully, yeah, we'll share this around so to rest of the people who didn't get a chance to join us. But thank you again so much. I know it's rather late for you, and there's actually another person who's joining us from India as well, and there's a person joining us from Brazil. So we have people, international crowd. So that's pretty cool. But thank you again for sharing uh, uh, creating a bot with Twilio and Python with us, and pointing us to tutorials. So it'd be interesting to see who what people make
Yeah.
with it. Um, and also, yeah, thank you to Leigh and Michael as well for helping me in the background. And thank you to everyone who's joined us this evening and asking all the questions and participating. We're still finding our feet here and trying to engage the audience. It's kind of quite hard, as you can see, that sometimes you can't see someone. It's very hard to ask
Right.
questions and answer and see should I go on or
Line
stop
is a
and
bit
stuff.
difficult.
Especially if I forgot that I mute myself and I'm talking to myself. So, but yeah, thank you so much. Probably, yeah, to everyone out there. I think we finish a bit early so people can, because it's quite late for you over there in India and other places as well. And yeah, and we'll just enjoy the rest of Tuesday. So, thanks again to everyone. So till next time, as I said, we're back next month, so head over to PyLadies Dublin on meetup.com, and we will announce when we announce our hopefully we'll announce our meetup details soon. Because last month we did ask for a poll on what people want to listen to, and apparently they're all quite even. So we had to pick of the lot anyway. There was like three choices, and all three choices were just as popular as one was another. So that was that was fun. So yeah, we'll be in touch and hopefully see everyone next month. So thanks again. Good evening, and that's the end. Goodbye, everyone.
Anyway,
Bye.
thank you.